Okay, everybody, this is Brandon from Galaxy Market. Today is August 22nd, 2026. It's Saturday, 9:45 a.m. and Eastern Standard Time, and I'm bringing you this special analysis today to go over why the monetary reset that I've been harping about has probably started last week. And we'll go over a lot of details, and also we'll talk about the impending Jewish holiday, which is Rosh Hashanah, coming right up, and the significance of Rosh Hashanah and the old wives' tale regarding Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And we'll go over all of that and why I think the powers that be may want to start triggering a potential corrective wave around that time period. But without further ado, let's get started. Before I go forward, having a little issue with my voice, just finally got it back, and I'm going to make this video as quickly as I can before I lose my voice again. All right, here we go. So here's the disclaimer. If you're not following me in my community, and not members, but following me on x.com and YouTube, please pause this and read it. And if you agree with the disclaimer, please move forward. Okay, and I want to thank everybody for following me at x.com/galaxy.market. Lots of commentary, sometimes a little political, but regardless, we have to kind of look at all the geopolitical events and make rational decisions to succeed in the stock market. But thank you so much for following on x.com and also liking and commenting and subscribing on YouTube. All right, so last couple of weeks, the fear and greed index had flipped to greed, and I was hoping to see a little more extreme greed and a blow-off top formation, and we got completely the opposite in this options expiration week, ending on August 21st, which was yesterday, on Friday. And so we are now back on the neutral, and how fast things change, but there are significant headwinds headed our way, and namely the bond markets across the globe are beginning to rear its ugly head. It is basically just the yields are just blowing through, which means that the demand, which is the debt instrument of the fractional reserve banking system, are basically kaput, so to speak. And what that means for us is that we are on the verge of a critical moment in which the fiat money system, the central banking system, must adapt or change completely. And that's what this whole hoopla over cryptocurrency has been. And if you've been following my channel and in my community, I've been always harping on, and that, the Iran war, the Ukrainian war, all of this COVID and all of these other things that's designed to bring you fear into your existence, is designed to scare you while they do other things. And the main thing is usually they are able to have a war or mass extinction event or chaos in the world while they bring in about a new monetary system. And I suppose it's because of the advent of the social media, and I think in general people are more aware, is that everything is being called out. And not going to delve too much into it, but Fauci's saga with his diary and all of the misinformation that was presented during the COVID, it's a known fact now. No matter how much you try to spin it, okay, they had engineered that COVID event, and basically that's what's happened, right? Well, this time around, nothing is really sticking, and right before your eyes, you see the monetary and debt system, including the Japanese yen carry trade, imploding before you. And so this fear going back to neutral, and I suppose we will either continue to delve towards this fear area right here from this neutral, okay, or just vacillate between neutral and greed until we get to a point where the market is ready to roll over and start the corrective phase. I am neutral. I think this fear and greed index really has nailed our position in our community at Galaxy Market to a T. Okay. And, we're going to trade the market that we see, not the one we want. And I understand all of those macro bears are basically, you're going to be proven right shortly. And then I share the same sentiment. But this is also a highly manipulated market. But I think the jig is coming up. And so that's what we're dealing with, you know. So, you know, markets are basically beginning to show you that it's off. It means that the markets are coming off the euphoric highs and the incessant, just moving higher, grinding higher. Okay. But you have to pay attention to what the commodities and the cryptos and the 10-year yield, as well as the US dollar has been telling us, what the VIX has been telling us. And we're going to summarize all that in the video. All right, we're not going to talk too much about the news. Let's delve right into what is actually happening here. So we talked about the US dollar, and all currency is a race to zero. It is a race to hyperinflate the monetary base to acquire as much of the tangible assets as possible, including gold, silver, land, farmlands, whatever it is that has tangible value. They're going to artificially pump money and print money, and I've always said that. And that the end goal is to devaluation and complete destruction of the fiat money system while the elites accumulate as much assets as possible. Okay. And then we have the 10-year yield. Okay, despite the constant joint intervention between Bank of Japan and the U.S. Treasury, never in our lifetime has there been a situation where we would print our own money to make sure that the yen carry trade stays alive. But this is all part of the game. And and we said that this would be something that would be happening. The problem is that they are actively intervening in the debt market, which is what the 10-year yield is. That's what the TNX measures, right? It's the 10-year bond yield, and it is climbing higher. Okay, so the U.S. dollar is going lower while the 10-year yield rises rapidly despite the Japan-USA intervention. This is super bearish, folks. Okay, it doesn't mean we're going to crash tomorrow, but I think more ducks are in a row at this point where you have to start mentally and physically prepare for what is coming. So all this means is that there is the death of the current monetary system and a new one must be implemented. And that new money system that's being implemented is going to be running off of blockchain technology. It's going to be digital currency. Yes, it will eventually become the mark of the beast. And at the center of it, and I've been pounding the table. Here, I'm going to pound the table again. You hear that? I'm pounding the table. One last time. XRP is going to be the chain that is going to rule the entire digital currency landscape. Okay. It is a distributed ledger system, not just for cross-border payments, but it is basically a liquidity provider. When the flip of the switch moment happens and we transition from the fractional reserve banking system into the new digital currency backed by gold and silver, because it has to be backed by something, folks. Okay, you can't just have this constant printing of the money and expecting that it has value. And eventually, like a drug addict, one too many hits of whatever it is, the drug of their choice, it will eventually stop the heart. And our economy's engine, the heart, has stopped a long time ago, folks. All right. So I've said time and time again that this channel right here on the VIX, the sideways movement, is the reason why market would grind higher. And now the only thing that this market hasn't done is put in a climax top. It started at what I believe is the blow off top. But what if that is the only thing that we get? We are at a level, when we look at this VIX, yes, it is bullish, right? It is at around 1513. We've hit as low as 1318 back in December of 2025, which led to this brief in March. You remember that little correction, okay? It happened on the face of getting below this sideways channel. And we've been just straddling that area, and now we're below that again. And I've said that, hey, look, really the conclusive evidence would be if it would get down below the 12.5 level, I would get super bearish. Okay, but we have to start preparing. We have to trade the market that we see. What is happening in the stock market? right now. It is near the top. It is wobbling. Yes, a lot of it could be that it was options expiration on Friday, and those wide ranges of price movement, which I basically warned everybody about. But now we have to make sure that we're ready to act when that moment comes. And so you have to be patient, and you have to understand the grand scheme of things. In order for the new monetary system to come in, there has to be right now something to sponge up all this excess printed dollars and other currencies of the world. And right now they are hyperinflating the stock market. Okay, but eventually they're going to flip that switch, and they have to sacrifice the stock market to move money into the digital currency. And I believe that moment has started. As you can tell, Bitcoin, XRP, and all the utility coins, and all the shit coins for that matter, started to rally significantly. Okay, and I've been warning you that around below a dollar, and if it ever got to 95 cents to 85 cents, it would be a generational buying opportunity. But sometimes you don't get what you want. We got to about 98 cents and change, and this is all we get. Okay, but you had to accumulate. You had to buy when nobody wanted to buy it. Okay, but the VIX continues to tread below. Okay, having said that, the VIX continues to tread below the channel, setting the stage for reversal higher. So we have to be on guard, vigilant about what this really means. Yes, it's bullish for now, but you have to take it into context of, is there a question of, has the market topped yet? Okay, we'll find out shortly. Okay, I'm leaning more and more bearish at this point. Okay, not fully ready to call it a bear market. But our group will be ready when the time comes. Now let's talk about this was from 2025. I believe it was in October when we presented this. Okay, October to January 2026, and we talked about it ad nauseum. This was the Hunt brothers trying to corner the silver market, and then of course the COMEX and they came in and they slammed this thing down by raising margin requirement. Okay, and it's been over 40 years. And we talked about this cup and a handle, and you know what happened. I was talking about this. I said, why do I think this phase will go higher than 75? This was back in January this year. I said talked about the Hunt brothers and silver, how it rose 625% from top to bottom. We never really got that in this round, right? We did get to about all the way up to 121, and then of course they did the same thing. They increased the margin requirement, and they had a sharp reversal. Okay, and so let's look at what's going on now. So it's the same chart with a little bit of Fibonacci retracement overhead, and basically what we had here's the Hunt brothers. Okay, and rightfully so. And I said, if we get about 72, we're really going to be taking off. And my 85% model projected this to be around 125. We only hit 121 before the COMEX criminals basically started raising margin requirements. But that only works so far, because from there we retraced all the way down, right? We retraced all the way back down into this 0.5 retracement level, and now we're going back up. And so this right now, this right here is a candle you just cannot ignore. And what is happening in the context of just the silver move, and I'll go over the gold move, it's the new money system is coming. The global powers that be are panicking now at this point, is that they're trying to suppress these prices so that they could accumulate gold and silver and all the cryptos that are worth accumulating, while making sure that the retail is holding the bag and shaken out of fear. And I've been saying that for a while. Okay, so the silver has been manipulated down, but right now in this current cycle, the critical levels right here. Okay, 85.84 retracement level. Okay, and that $76, if we get above there, and we kind of are getting near that area, okay, and we did reject that 6.18 a little bit. I don't know if it's a rejection, but we're taking a pause. But once we get above here, we're going to take this out probably overnight. Okay, you heard it here first, folks. It's coming. If this chart doesn't show you how bullish silver is right now and that the new monetary system is likely happening, they don't tell me stuff, so I have to guess, right? Read the tea leaves, and this is what we're talking about. Gold is the same thing. Gold, we hit 5,600 and we retraced back down, hit the bottom of this retracement level. Hopefully this is the bottom, and I know this is. Okay, so then we have from the 0% retracement, the next level, logical level that it's targeting is again 618. Okay, right around 5,000. If we can get above that 5,000, we're going to take this 5,600 out, and I believe it's going to go higher. Now, there are speculations as to revaluing gold to, current federal, not federal, but the federal balance sheet. Federal balance sheet, gold is priced at $42, right? Or $42 an ounce. What if Trump makes an executive order and says that let's reprice it to the current market value? Market is forward looking, and there's always people with insider information. What if that's what this big God candle is all about that's formed? Okay, let's see if there's a continuation there. Okay, so 618 is next, folks. If this isn't bullish, I don't know how to tell you. All those people saying that gold is going to go back down to $1,500 and it's going to go back down to the old level because the powers that be don't want that. Think about who's accumulating gold while the retail retards are basically selling this or doing stupid crap. Okay? Wake up, folks. Get gold and silver. Not financial advice for those of you out of my group, right? But you have to get some physicals. While it's cheap, this is cheap right now. Even though it's at $4,000, it's going to be a lot more. It's going to seem very cheap once it gets to $10,000, $15,000, and it's going to start moving exponentially. And then let's talk about XRP. XRP, yes, rejected right at this blue line, in which I thought it would for now. Okay, we pulled back, and this $1.50 I always said was going to be a critical level, and then this $1.71 level. Okay, is going to be critical because once it gets above there, we're going right back up into this 367. And if you don't think that this candle somehow can't have one of these big, gigantic candles, I got news for you. XRP has been the most suppressed asset in the world yet. During the crypto summit, the only person that didn't speak was Brad Garlinghouse from Ripple, but he stood right behind President Trump. Okay, it was just an optics type of thing. Okay, XRP is the new monetary system. Yes, it'll eventually become the mark of the beast coin, but right now it's designed to save the world from the sins of the fractional reserve banking. Okay, so my question to you is, did you buy below $1, or will you buy now, or will you be like these idiots? Right? I mean, this is what's going to happen. Yeah, I do believe XRP is going to go over $1,000. Not tomorrow. Maybe. I don't know. Who the hell knows? I mean, XRP is so suppressed. All right, let's go over some technical analysis. Well, folks, the McClellan Summation Index has been signaling a negative divergence, and now we have a full signal for a downside movement. How long it'll last? Last one was basically not that long, but it was enough to catch people's attention. So we are moving below here, and this is indicative of a bigger move coming on the lower side. So I'm now cautiously neutral, and I'm looking for bearish setups. Okay, that's what McClellan Summation Index does for us. On the SPY, okay, this is the weekly chart, and we've kind of starting to form a negative divergence on the RSI, and we try to move higher, and now we've basically got a full bearish red candle for the week. Okay, in the past, these have been just chopping sideways, and we were building enough energy to move higher. We did find support right at that green line, which is 80 MA. If this sell-off continues, then I think that we're going to start hitting that 20 SMA this week, and potentially even lower all the way down if we get some form of a black swan type of an event. We have the MACD that is about to cross over, not in a death cross fashion, but the MACD histogram is coming down. The commodity channel index is negatively divergent. And then, of course, our PPO ADX is basically warning us that there is a negative crush formation, which means a bigger move lower may be setting up at this point. Here's the daily. Daily looks even worse, right? We got a series of failed breakout. This is at the top. We got the RSI that's basically negatively divergent. And then, of course, these dang black candles only shown on stock charts, right? That's distribution that's forming. Again, we're right at that 20 SMA. If we break below there, likelihood is we're going to start targeting this intermediate term trend line, uptrend line. And if that shall get broken, then we're coming right into this pivot level below the 740. Okay. MACD has already crossed over in a bearish fashion. Okay, I think there will be a continuation. The histogram is negative. Commodity channel index is directional to the negative side. Stochastics has rolled over completely. PPO ADX again is forming a negative crush formation, indicating a bigger move lower is coming. This is pretty bearish setup. And then, of course, we have the long-term SPY chart. Of course, we broke above this long-term uptrend line. Now, the question is, are we topping here and are we going to start moving down below here? This is a monthly chart. And so, what week or two, we will find out shortly. And we're going to be talking about Rosh Hashanah a little bit later. And this will all tie in together why I think that. Okay, here's silver. Another way to look at it from a standard chart perspective is that we got over the 20 SMA. Okay, we have positive divergences everywhere. I told you we were bottoming right down here. And did you get them? That's the question. Okay, silver is forming a positive divergence, almost a bullish cross. Folks, this is bullish. Okay, PPO ADX ready to form a bullish crush formation. Gold is the same thing. Gold looks a lot more aggressive, doesn't it? Gold leads and silver will follow. Clear not only the 80 MA, all of these lesser 20 SMA, the 50s and the 8 are all curling up, and we got this nice bullish candle. Of course, we have the positive divergence, and I said, hey, look, these have bottomed down here. This is the time to get it. And we got a bullish cross on the MACD, super bullish, folks. CCI, are we going to start taking this out? It can happen pretty quickly. Okay, if you notice from the January rally, I mean, the gold can continue to move up $100 to $200, $300 per day if it needs to. Okay, we're already at 46.04. It's significantly bullish, folks. We're going to talk about Citibank and a couple of the banks, but Citibank is kind of warning you. We got the negative divergences. All the banks are bankrupt, right? As long as the 10-year yield rises, and if the Fed does not open the discount window, all of these idiots are going to be bankrupt. Okay, that's why there's probably been an urgency to hold that crypto summit and the CFTC meeting on Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, guess who was front and center again on both of those meetings? It's XRP, Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse. Remember that. Okay, we're stalling out here, folks. Okay, on Citibank. I think Citibank, once it breaks this 50-day moving average, is going to start moving all the way down. It is held together by nothing but lies at this point. Watch Citibank. NVIDIA reports earnings this week, I think on Wednesday. Regardless, NVIDIA looks to have top negative divergences. We have a MACD that's about to cross over negative. Okay, folks. We have CCI that's negative. We have a PPO ADX, a little flat. But if you have active imagination like me, Okay, I believe we're beginning to form this formation. If you look at it from this perspective, we're about to get this negative crush formation. We have the right here. Look at that. On the accumulation distribution, ready to roll over, probably move down lower. Okay, so that's what we have. I mean, for NVIDIA. BABA. At this point on BABA, it failed to break out above this rising trend line, overhead resistance. We broke the positive divergence, so we were bullish on the way up, and now we have flipped bearish. And I believe these are all signals of bigger things to come at this moment. Okay, and so we have a little bit of negative divergences here. We have stochastics ready to roll over, and then we've try to bottom off of here, right here on PPO ADX. We had a nice crush formation, but now we are beginning to form this type of a That's a negative crush. We have accumulation distribution failing right down here. Okay, it failed to basically stabilize. People are dumping BABA right now, folks. And then our biggest barometer, Apple, is the entire stock market, folks. Nice bear flag formation. We're moving lower. Negative divergences galore. We got MACD crossover. We got the histogram moving lower. Okay, let's go look at everything. CCI is negatively divergent. I mean, stochastics already rolled over. And then, of course, we have the negative crush formation forming here, right? All of this, like this. Okay. And then we have basically our accumulation distribution. It's going to move lower, folks. Okay, Apple, pay attention to that. And then ULTA reports earnings this week. Okay, we've been bullish and bearish, as the winds change on this. I believe we are about to, if we break below this ADMA, we're going lower. Everything is negatively divergent on the RSI, and then the MACD. Right, we're coming from the bottom. I believe we're going to roll over right here, and then we had a positive PPO ADX crush, which indicated this rally. Okay, now I think that's coming to an end, and I think the earnings are just about to put that into perspective. Okay, I said I was going to cover Citibank and compare it to Bank of America and JP Morgan, and I said one is not like the other, and as you can tell, Bank of America has been continuously signaling these rips higher, while the rest of these Citibank and like JP Morgan Chase, I don't know if you see these wicks on the hourly charts, and it always happens after hours. Okay, these are not good signs, however. Now, Bank of America has come out and basically been touting the fact that their internal business has been running on XRP network already. Therefore, okay, I'm bearish on banks, but Bank of America is something that you want to pay attention to. I think they're doing things right. Citibank, I believe, is ready to roll over along with rest of the banks and BlackRocks of the world. Okay, we'll see how that happens once they flip the switch into a new monetary system. But pay attention to these weird candles. Okay, so that's all we have for now. And then at this point, earnings report. Okay, next week, I know earnings are winding down, but there's some good ones that you want to pay attention to. Dix, Intuit. Okay, and then of course the All-Star game starts on Wednesday after the close. We got Nvidia, we got Salesforce, CrowdStrike, Okta, Synopsys. Okay, my gosh. Okay, and I'm bearish. I'm bearish in all of these, and I think this is going to kind of trigger the rollover that's about to come. Of course, on Thursday, before the market opens, Best Buy is going to be something that you want to pay attention to. And then, of course, the preponderance of all of these banks, these Canadian banks, right? Royal Bank of Canada and TD Bank. Okay, these two banks are really in trouble for the most part, and so we'll see how they report. And then of course we have ULTA at Thursday after the market closes. I would also pay attention to Affirm. Okay, this is a fintech loan company, and let's see how well the consumers are doing. Okay, because I think there is consumer demand destruction that's happened, so we'll see. So I said I was going to talk to you a little bit about Rosh Hashanah. This year, Rosh Hashanah starts on 9/11. You can't make this shit up, okay? And what I've been saying is that this Rosh Hashanah that's coming is there's this adage that says sell in Rosh Hashanah and buy on Yom Kippur. And, will that come true this year? I got this bear growling in the background, okay? So we're neutral, but 911, come on, guys, okay? You know the deep state. You know the elite banksters are very numerological satanic beings, okay? And how fitting would it be is 911 on steroids or something is going to happen. And what I've been saying is that based on what's been happening, we've started the blow off top formation. How fitting would it be if the crash starts on 9/11? Okay. We'll see how that goes, okay? But there is that saying, sell in Rosh Hashanah and buy in Yom Kippur. There is significant evidence now that the market is slowly rolling over. It's going to roll over because in order to flip the switch to a new monetary system backed by gold and silver and digital currencies, mainly XRP, well, you're going to have to sacrifice a couple of things, aren't you? You're going to have to sacrifice the debt market, which is all on Federal Reserve's balance sheet. And I believe Federal Reserve is going to be on the receiving end from the Treasury. They're going to be I believe it's going to be just taken over by Treasury. If you noticed, you really don't hear much about the Fed anymore, right? And it's all an illusion. But regardless, just pay attention to what's going on about this Rosh Hashanah. Okay, it's very important. All right, so Rosh Hashanah starts on 9/11. Coincidence? I already talked about that. Gold is broken out. Silver is officially broken out. Also, cryptos have broken out. All these three, okay, breaking out is an indication that there is a new money system that's coming. While 10-year yield is going the wrong way, it's moving higher despite the fact that we're printing trillions of dollars trying to backstop this. Thank you for following me at Galaxy Doc Market. Like us, share us, and above all, comment and subscribe to YouTube. If you want to work with me, you have to email me at coachbrandon@protonmail.com. If you want to join our community, entry level, not so entry, you get all the watch lists, market commentaries, pertinent alerts, chart analyses, and a whole lot more for $49. Okay, thank you so much, and be careful out there. Bye-bye.